I don't know, man. Why don't you lead us like with a question, like one of the questions that you had for us in regards to just parenting, being a dad, being in a
Uh,
relationship, things like that. Like some of the things that we talk about, off air.
I think one of the questions that I posed was, when is it appropriate to introduce your child to either A, drugs, or B, alcohol? So the way that the question was posed to me is it okay to smoke? And we talking about marijuana. We talking about weed. Is it okay to smoke or drink with your child if you introduce it to them instead of them learning about it in the streets? And Joe, I'm gonna let you go first because I want to chime in after. No, I want to chime in after because you are a father and I'm a stepfather, so it's different.
Hmm.
So I want to get the opinion of a father first, and then I'll chime in with my opinion. Or we
Can
can
I?
let Gerald go.
Yeah, can I pass to Gerald first? I'd like to get in. I'd like
Wow.
to get his opinion before it gets passed to me.
Just throw me under the bus. Okay. All right. Um I feel, man, I grew up under a strict household. Um I don't think I've ever seen my dad take a drink in our house of alcohol. He smoked cigarettes. Um
So
and
we, I mean, we could even use that. Like,
I
what if your dad would have introduced you to cigarettes?
I tried that. I tried. Well, I thought I was smoke, and he was like, "Boy, if I ever see a cigarette in your hand, I will." I'll,
He
I'll
choked.
yeah, and it was
Yo, monkey.
smoke. He's like, "Yeah," and I can't stop. I don't want you to have a habit that you can't stop. You know, and to me, I mean, I really don't like the way cigarettes smell anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think with my son growing up, I don't know. Like, I don't smoke. I don't smoke weed, but um
You vape?
no, I don't vape.
I do.
I do. I mean, I have the occasional beer here. I like, bro. A beer can last, a six pack can last me a good 2 months. It just it's not in my blood, but I think if my I don't even know the drinking age nowadays. Like, is it still like when we were growing up? It was what, 14, 15, 16, maybe, when we were in high school. You snuck around and had beers or whatever. Like, I don't nowadays. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could. I want to say I would be cool with it and be like, yo, if you're gonna do it here. But then again, I don't want to give him that power.
So, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I don't know this to be of anyone else's.
The
I would.
express opinions of Two Trill do not accurately reflect those of the Shots Fired podcast.
um, I don't want to say that I'd be okay with it, but I understand the logic of wanting to introduce your child to something that either A, they got caught doing, or B, they have an interest in doing because you're doing it yourself. So,
Well, if they got caught doing it, then you're not introducing them to it.
well, wrong.
It's
So if
been
you got
it's been introduced at that point.
no, when I say caught, what I'm saying is you got caught trying to do it. Like I walked in your room and I saw you had a bag of weed that wasn't there yesterday, or I saw you had a drink that wasn't in there yesterday, or whatever the case is that where I know you haven't been doing this, but I know you have some interest in doing it,
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm trying to say. So I would say that I'm okay with introducing you to, okay, if you gonna go out and drink, if I know you are interested in drinking, you can have a drink with me. It might not be a full blown drink. It might be a little watered down drink. I might give you a margarita with more mix than I will Rita.
More Marga than Rita.
Bro, I can see this now. Dad, this don't taste right, bro. It's a little weak.
That's
What?
that's what you want to be drinking, that nasty tasting stuff. Don't ever drink no more.
Exactly. No, but seriously though, I would be okay with introducing something to my child in my household before they get exposed to it in the street somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
because I came from a household of drugs. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, I never really had the interest in doing what I saw my mom's doing or what I saw people around me doing.
Mhm.
But these days, like you really can't prevent that from happening. Like everything is more accessible. You know what I'm saying? So when I was coming up, like we would go through hell trying to go get a drink somewhere. But you can damn near walk in a gas station these days and go buy a 6-pack at 15.
Yeah, I remember GP being dry
So
for as long as I could remember. GP was
street.
we ain't do all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden there's beer and wine stores all over Grand Prairie.
Bro, I want to trip y'all out for a second.
Man, for real.
When I was growing up, there's a little corner store across from my house, and it's called. Well, no, I ain't gonna say your name on here. Um, it's a little corner store, and it had like everything in there. It had like when we moved there, it had groceries and like it was like a old Piggly Wiggly that you know was turned into a convenience store. Um, they had everything in there. My dad would send me over there, and I was in grade school. He'd be like, "Hey son, go get me a pack of cigarettes and a Pepsi." And he would just give me the money. I would go. I would ask for the cigarettes. I'd get the Pepsi, and they would sell it to me. And I was a little kid, bro,
Yep,
a child.
Yeah. Like I remember buying cigarettes from my mom when I was 15, 13 actually,
bro. I was like 8,
in
9,
Walgreens.
10, bro. My mom would pull up at the store, give me the money. I was pissed off because I had to get off. She was like, "Okay, go give me Marlboro Reds in a box, not the
Cool
paper
100s.
ones. Marlboro Reds in the box."
Exactly.
And the dude would be like, "Are these for you?" I'm like, "No, that's my mom." And my mom's like waving at him. He's like, "Oh, okay."
That is
Wow,
crazy, bro. That's all they ever ask.
Yeah.
These aren't for you, are they? No.
No. Okay. Okay.
but I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I've gone back and forth with it, um, at least over the last couple years, because it's been something that was asked several times. And, at first I was like, hell no. Like, I beat my kid ass if you
That's where
ask
I'm
me
at.
something like that.
That's where I'm at with it.
But the more that I think about it, the more I'm kind of like, or the more I don't want to say it grew on me, but it was, you know, I would rather you be exposed under a controlled environment than somewhere that I have no control over, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to be so strict on you where it pushes you to want to go do it, but I'm not going to be so lenient and allow you to do it free willing. So I mean, I guess it's a matter of opinion. You know how you were raised and how you want your kids to be raised and how responsible your kid is.
Yeah.
So, you know, more than likely, I would probably turn it into something that's more like a privilege. Like you got to earn the right to do this type thing. And then it's how responsible you are type thing. I don't know, man. Like it's a lot that would go into that decision. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just I busted you behind the Shell gas station, so now you come do it at the house. Like hell no, no.
Now
But
let me throw a little sideball, curveball. How do y'all feel about like nudity and all that stuff? Because when I was growing up, I remember there was talk in my house. My dad always had to have cable, and we had HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, like everything, and it wasn't filtered. When we were growing up, you know, there was no filter on the TV. So what it was what it was. And he told my mom, I'd rather my kids see it here than anywhere else. They're gonna see it at some point. Why not here? So I kind of feel, I mean,
Well,
but yeah,
that's gonna transition us into our next topic, I think.
but you still got to answer this one.
Right.
I was trying to tie the two together because
Right.
I've even though I still haven't had a drink with my dad as a grown up, and I probably never will because he's just not that person. Like
right,
we ain't drinking together. Him and my mom will have some wine or something, but we ain't gonna sit down and just go drink for drink with each other.
Right.
But,
My dad had alcohol problems. I mean, he wasn't just a sloppy drunk, but alcoholism ran rampant in our house, our family rather. Not necessarily our house. My dad would drink, but he would only drink like with my uncle, my mom's brother. That was when he would drink. And he would only drink really like when we went back home or if my uncle came to visit from out of town, they would drink. Um, and then right around the time I turned like 13, 14, my dad just quit. The last time I saw my dad drink, um, my cousin, my oldest cousin had just graduated from high school and they got drunk and they got a little silly and stuff like that, but it wasn't anything major. Um, my mom hated it. My mom hates alcohol. My mom's never had a drink of alcohol in her life. She was a smoker. Her and my dad were both smokers. My dad did Skull from a can,
mm,
and he just gave everything up. And then my mom, a couple years later, gave up smoking as well. Um, I started drinking at the age of 18. Me and my boy Gerardo and Arius got together, and the first time I really drank was we went to Arius's cousin's house and we drank Smirnoffs. When Smirnoffs were like barely like the rage. This was like I said, we were in high school at that time. That was like the big thing, and
Zimas,
no
smearing
Zima,
off in Zimas.
just Smirnoffs.
Mm.
And then when they introduced that black ice, that was just or whatever it was called, the black label one. But I'm tease my dad every now and then. I'm like, bro, man, like when are we gonna have a drink together? And my dad's giving it up. He's never had another drink. My mom's like, don't ever even let me see you drinking. Find out you've been drinking, whatever. Um, so luckily for me, like I drank on occasions. I don't drink much now. I'm like you. I've had a 6-pack in my fridge, and the only reason I have a 6-pack in my fridge is I was doing beer can chicken
Mm,
on the smoker,
mhm.
and they don't
They make
Walmart doesn't
seasoning for that
sell,
junk.
huh?
They make seasoning for that, and it's in Walmart, sir.
Well, I'm saying Walmart doesn't sell the individuals. So I was like, okay, well, we got to buy a 6-pack. I used two, one for two chickens,
The
so it
chicken.
was one apiece. Uh, and there's still 4 sitting in my fridge. I'm not gonna drink them. Um, so the way I was raised and the way the family genes are, I would not want to introduce something to my kids where I know our families had a history of problems with it anyway.
Mhm.
But that goes back to kind of like how I ended what I was saying. It really kind of depends on how you were raised
Right.
and what is in your family. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Um, alcohol, I mean, alcohol kills. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like I'm not
It
saying,
killed so many of my family members back home
yeah.
because it
No, I'm not gonna. I mean, I have a drink every day.
yeah,
I get off work. I look forward to coming home, pour me a shot of Crown, maybe a double, and unwind.
yeah.
But I'm not drinking it like it's water.
But that's different. That's not the whole
Right.
bottle in one night. You know what I mean?
Now, don't
Right.
get me wrong.
And there's
I
that, and
should
then
kill
there's
the
also
bottle.
like you can go a day or two without it. Like it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, if I don't have it, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah. Exactly.
But um smoking and drinking, like smoking weed, never done it.
So let me ask you: would you rather, say, for instance, one of your kids grows up and they want to smoke? Would you want to introduce it to them, or would you want them to learn about it in the street?
I wouldn't introduce it because I don't know anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have that firsthand knowledge. So for me to be like, oh well, we can try it together, whatever.
Well, it's
Nah.
not even necessarily, you per se. It could be, let's just say you have a family member that smokes.
Right.
Would you prefer it to happen in an environment that's controlled, or would you prefer for it to happen somewhere that you have no control?
If I can be real with you, I would prefer it doesn't happen.
Not to
Period.
happen at all.
Period.
Mhm.
And I would tell my kids like my parents told me, I would hope I raised you well enough to not have to worry about you ever telling me you do something like that. But it's become so marijuana is looked at these days so much different than it has been in the past. You
That
know,
I mean, honestly, in the past, it shouldn't have been looked at as it was. To be honest.
but that's what I'm saying. There's been so many studies and tests and everything. Like people are seeing the benefits of it.
Hmm.
So it's always had a bit of a negative stigma. It's kind of been taboo, like, oh, that guy smokes weed, he's got weed.
Yeah.
And now people are like, oh, you don't know, you don't understand the benefits of it.
Hmm.
So just like everything's kind of evolved, I'm sure it's gonna evolve even more as my kids get older. My oldest is 14. But
Hmm.
again, would I want him experiencing that? No.
Nah.
He doesn't need it. I never needed it. I don't think he would need it. But I don't know what the future holds. I would just say, I would hope you don't want to ever become or you're not ever interested in something like that or feel that you need it. But I will say this: if they were interested, I would say at least talk to me about it first.
First, exactly.
Let's talk about it. I'm not saying let's introduce each other to it, but let's talk about it. Tell
Let's
me why.
yeah.
Yeah, let's have a talk. Let's see what's piqued your interest and why you're thinking about going down this road. So that's just
Well,
my stance on it.
this is my stance on it too, and I will. It, if your kid does want to try that, don't berate them or make them feel like crap. Because
Shit.
to me, weed ain't nothing, bro. It's a natural plant. I'm an advocate for it. I don't.
Bro, how you think Pops would react if you just showed up, just puffing on the blunt at his house? Like, what up, Dad?
But see, I would.
Smack!
It would be smack, but I would never do that though. I would never disrespect his household like
Right.
that.
But that's what I'm saying, dog. Like,
That's the same reason why
I think I
never
carry
walk
that
up to
mentality. I think I carry that mentality that my parents had. I'm realizing like I'm starting to say and do and act the way my parents acted.
You're becoming your
Yeah,
parent.
Exactly.
exactly.
Is that progressive commercial? You're
Right.
becoming your parents, bro.
Right.
Trust me, I've been out in public and I've wanted to say something to somebody and I'm like, nah, I can't do that. Let me walk away.
I mean, and to touch on what you were asking about nudity, it is different these days. Like I'm sure I'm not as old as you guys. Hint, hint. But
I'm sure you're not. I'm closer to 40 than 30. I'll say that much.
Same.
But
And Gerald's closer to 40 than I am, so I don't feel too bad.
I am.
But I mean, as far as nudity, man, like if we're gonna be honest, it only bothers me with a little girl. I know it's a gender role thing. I know it shouldn't be, but you cherish the girls a little more than you do the boys. You don't want them
protect their
exposed to that.
innocence. You want to
Right.
protect their innocence.
But I mean, it is different. Like you were saying, man. Like I can remember growing up looking at, I flipped to one of the HBO channels and you see a full blown sex scene. You know what I'm saying?
That softcore stuff after midnight.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't see that these days. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was exposed to that at an early age. At 12, I was raped by someone's mom that I went to school with. I won't say her name. And it turned me
Gerald,
into,
fix your face, bro.
It almost turned me into an addict.
It's the way he said it.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
He been clapping
Like,
cheeks since he was 12, bro.
By that time, I was looking at porn, so I was.
He knew what he was doing.
I was okay with it. This was what I wanted to experience. But in all seriousness, though, I don't think you ever really want to walk in on your kid, looking at softcore porn or porn in general.
No.
And especially with like a little girl, man, it I can't find the words to describe it if I had to walk in to see something like that. You know what I'm saying? With either one of my kids, but more so the little girl, because you ate. You know what I'm saying? And like I think I can remember an episode of Family Guy where Lois's shirt was off. I mean, obviously they blurred out the chest part, but even still, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, damn, like this is, and then you see like new cartoons with homosexuals. It's just a different world these days, man. And you want to protect, like Joe said, you want to protect the innocence of your kids as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think too, though, like how innocent are our kids? you know.
I mean, yeah.
Bro, how old is your oldest dog?
Mine?
Yeah.
13.
13?
I mean, Logan's 13.
Yeah. And you, T?
14.
See, my oldest is he's 14. And
You caught that boy looking at porn.
no, not. I mean, I can't say I caught him looking at it, but what do you remember doing at 14?
I remember being in the bathroom a lot.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
no lie.
Like,
why are you in the bathroom so long?
you can't be mad at that because, like, it's like, damn, like.
But that's what I'm saying.
I
It's,
was
you know,
there. I know.
okay.
I know what you're talking about, but
So your oldest is your son, right?
right.
Okay. What if the oldest was your girl, your little girl at 14? How would you have that same feeling that you have right now? Like as a man, we as a man, it's like, yeah, like hooray, like hoorah. But as a when it's your little girl, it's a different story.
Like just having the talk. I think I would want to have the talk with my girls a little bit sooner than the boys.
Exactly.
Just to kind of give them a heads up.
But how do you even
I told my dad, I told my kids like I've had to talk with both my boys. My oldest is 14 and my youngest is 10. And my girls, my oldest is 12 and my youngest is 10. So with the boys, I tell them like my pops told me, like, hey, you know, be responsible. Don't ruin some young girl's life. Don't ruin your life. You got plenty of time to go down that road. Like, keep it in your pants.
Back out the garage.
And
don't shoot the club up.
No, do not shoot the club up. And then I tell them like, look at me and your mom's like, bro, we got there's 4 kids and 2 of us in this house. We're fertile, bro. We're fertile. Like, you really don't want to take no risk with that biscuit because you don't know what could be going on. So just there's plenty of time for it. I understand the hormones and everything. With the girls, I just told them, you know, that's not something you need to really be worrying about. You know, respect your body. Make sure everybody respects you. Nobody should touch you, make you feel uncomfortable. You know, things like that. So we've had the talk with all of them. I definitely feel like it's easier to talk to boys because boys, I don't know, bro. Like I feel like talking to my boys is.
Bro, that was not easy talk, bro.
You don't think it was? It was easier to talk to the girls. You can be more like direct and just like mature about it. The boys are like laughing and they're all embarrassed. And it's like, bro, like this is serious, dog. Like I need you to really listen.
Mine was, Dad, we don't need to talk about this. Like,
nah,
bro. We need to talk about this.
Nah,
we need to talk about this.
Nah, man. I said what I needed to say. I was like, bro, I'm here. If you ever need to talk, I'm here.
Like, who's trying to be a granddaddy at 28?
I don't even remember. I don't remember my talk with my dad, dude. I don't. But I didn't have kids in high school. Not knocking on anybody that did.
Yeah. I mean, I never had to talk. Like I didn't have anyone to have to talk with. I just
after we get off this podcast, bro, me and you will have to talk. I'll have it with you.
Hey, I've come.
You don't clap so many
far
cheeks.
too long. I have come far too long to have that conversation now.
You a hoe, fool. I hope you settle down one of these lifetimes.
The hoe formerly known as Two Trill.
but yeah, man, I think it's definitely a conversation to have. I think once you're about between 10 and 12, that's a solid time to just kind of start laying the foundation for it. Don't let them be no 16, 17, and then you're trying to have that talk, you know, especially like you said with little girls, 10 years old. Let's start setting some boundaries and some, you know, putting some things down like, hey, this is okay and this is not okay.
Yeah, because the body starts to change around that
Yeah.
age. Things start to happen around that age.
Bro, as
but-
as a father of a girl, I can't tell you how awkward it was the first time my oldest daughter had her first cycle, and I was like, man, I don't know what in the hell
Man,
is going on. Boy.
I'm not even looking forward to it,
I
brother.
was like,
But
why are you growing?
Go ask your
little-
mom. Go ask
Little
your mom.
boys,
Mom
little
has all
boys,
those answers.
beware.
I was like, so every, she's like, we call each other our homies. Like, I'm her homie, she's my homie. Except for that time of the month, she's like, oh man, we can't be homies this week. And when she's like, we can't be homies this week, I'm like, okay, I already know it's about to be all out war in this house for the next week.
Mhm.
And then that week comes and goes, and then we're homies again for the remainder of the month. So it's tough, dude. But being a girl dad is fun. Being a boy dad is fun.
Yep.
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
But I will say this: little boys, beware. Wanting to date my daughter. I have a size 9.5, and I will stick it so far, and I mean so far.
Are we talking about
Oh,
foot
yeah.
or?
My foot.
I was about to say, bro, you can't say that on this podcast.
Hey, we know. Don't come with the BS with my daughter, man. I'm putting my foot up so far up your ass.
Boy,
Yeah. About to catch all kinds of fades, bro.
Nah.
But yeah,
But
man.
I mean, I agree. I agree with what you were saying. I think, between 10 and 12, that's around the right time. That's when changes to the body start to happen, puberty.
Bro, these hormones, boys and girls,
Hormones.
dog. These hormones are.
You start wanting to experiment more.
You get
And
curious about
You
things,
get
and
curious, exactly. So
you start noticing the other, the opposite sex and all that. I mean, it just is what it is. But these are the kind of conversations we want to have moving forward with the podcast. These are some of the real life things we're trying to introduce. We hope you guys can relate, get something from it. I know this is something that you ask us or we discuss. It's like, damn, like you get other people's thoughts on it. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't agree. But you kind of get an idea as to like who your friends are, what they're about. Like we've been boys, but there's things about you I don't know, parenting wise or
right.
Whatever. So this is something that, like I said, we want to do moving forward with the podcast. We are still going to be, hitting on sports here and there, the major sports events that are coming up. But we do also want to just have these kind of serious conversations and have these talks and these one-offs and these discussions. So